It's Saturday morning, December 7th, and it's time for us to talk technology with our tech expert, Luis Alvarez, the CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, as we open up the Tech Expert segment here on the Saturday morning. Luis, welcome aboard.
Thank you, my friend. How are you?
Doing really well. And by the way, folks, today's the day to fly your U.S. flag because today is Pearl Harbor Day. It is the 83rd anniversary of the Japanese bombing of the U.S. naval forces at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and that led to America's involvement in the Second World War. So if you see Old Glory flying out on people's porches and so forth today, that's why, because it's Pearl Harbor Day, and this is one of those official days that you can fly your U.S. flag. Just thought I'd pass that along, Luis.
No, that's great advice. I have mine out on the front of the house right now.
Hey, we want to talk about ChatGPT. It's its second birthday. Even though it's a relatively new technology, it has already changed the world, and there are 5 very important ways that ChatGPT is responsible for changing the world. What do you know about this?
Yeah, so it's hard to believe that it's only been 2 years, right? It seems like we've always had ChatGPT around, but the reality is that it burst on the scene a couple of years ago, and right away it became one of the most popular apps and services that people use. And obviously there are other competitors to ChatGPT, Gemini, for example, which is Google's generative AI engine, plus Bard, all sorts of different types of generative AI services, but all of them have combined to really change our world in some very fundamental ways. One of them, for example, is school. I remember when ChatGPT first started being popular, that was a huge concern that kids would be using that service to basically write their term papers or do their homework for them, and teachers were going to be unable to figure it out. And the reality is that teachers have gotten really smart really quick, and they understand how to differentiate between a work product that comes from generative AI engine like ChatGPT versus what a student could produce on their own. But one of the other things that's happened is ChatGPT has also reduced the amount of homework kids have, because teachers actually want to see students perform live, if you will, in front of them, rather than sending them home and having them produce a bunch of work that could have been done by some sort of AI. So that's one fundamental way that school has changed for our students and our teachers.
That's really fascinating. So it's there's a way for the system to see what the kids are up to, and that is, all right, let's do it right here in class and see what you really know. Have you actually done the work of doing the homework? And I guess probably the other thing, too, is if the kids were using the ChatGPT to do their homework, there's a good possibility that the grammar and everything, the whole presentation is perfect.
Exactly.
Teacher looks at it and says, now, wait a second. This child does not have this vocabulary. They're not this as far advanced, so what's going on here? So I think sometimes the ChatGPT being too perfect and too complete is actually a dead giveaway.
For me, one of the things I've gotten used to with I use Gemini on my Samsung phone, or at the office I use Microsoft Copilot, but I like to talk to the AI and ask it questions like you would a normal human, right? Mm-hmm. So before, if you were searching for something online, you'd have to type something like best places to eat dinner in Carmel. Whereas now you can just say, hey, Copilot, I'm going to Carmel with my wife for dinner tonight, and we're looking for a nice restaurant that's not too expensive, but has high reviews. What do you recommend? And it gives you these recommendations that you could have found on your own, but it just makes it really easy to navigate rather than you going in online and trying to find all this stuff.
Hey, is ChatGPT helping out with do-it-yourself coding?
It is. For people that do coding, in fact, in many high-tech companies like Microsoft and Google, a lot of their coders have been laid off because now their senior people can use ChatGPT and similar AI engines to do the simple tasks of coding. So for example, if you wanted to write a Python script to rename 1,000 files in a folder, you can just ask ChatGPT to do that. Or if you say, hey, I want to write a program that will do XYZ, and ChatGPT will give you the code that then you can put into PowerShell or some other coding engine, and it's pretty good at what it does. Very seldom does it make mistakes.
And then there's also Imagination on Screen and Cyrano AI. Talk about those.
Yeah, so if you've not used ChatGPT to create images, it's a really fascinating thing that you can do where you can just talk to ChatGPT or type in a request to say, hey, create an image of a sailboat going across the ocean with a sunset in the background and divers nearby. And, you can be very descriptive and it'll create this image that is completely unique unique to just you. So even if I enter the exact same information, the same request that you did, I will get a slightly different image because each image by default is considered to be a unique, basically trademarkable image that can't be duplicated. So it does a really good job of creating images, and artists are using it to generate a lot of interesting art. In fact, there was just a sale of a unique AI generated artwork that netted like $2 million about 2 months ago. So art is just another area where AI like ChatGPT is starting to really make an impact.
So
and then finally,
I was just going to say that you might be able to get that priceless Rembrandt you've always wanted.
Exactly. Make it on your own. But one of the areas that is little talked about but has made a huge impact is the ChatGPT has become something of think of a Cyrano, the person that was helping people find love and, giving advice to lovers.
Yes.
It has become a tool that helps people understand how to navigate talking to each other. And it becomes a counselor, if you will. And so you're seeing a lot of AI generated counseling services that people are using quite regularly to help them kind of deal with stress or deal with issues in their life where they might not necessarily talk to another human being, or maybe they don't even have a human being they can talk to. And this gives them an avenue to get some of that advice and get some counseling that they might not otherwise get.
Wow, that's fascinating. That's just some of the ways that ChatGPT AI is changing the world. 5 different reasons or ways from Luis Alvarez, the CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joining us here on Power Talk Radio. Online, you'll find them at alvareztg.com. At AlvarezTG is their X handle. I always want to say Twitter, but it's X. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.
All right, and looking ahead to Monday, we've got a really interesting topic, and it's about malware and hackers attacking our messaging apps. Tell us about it.
Yeah, there was a massive Chinese hack on our telecoms like Verizon and AT&T, and the FBI has some advice on how you can protect yourself online.
So be sure to check that out. Join us Monday morning starting at 8:30 here on Power Talk Radio. By the way, one other thing, it just reminds me, and I want to throw this in ahead of the Monday program, but this is the time of the year when so many people are sending and receiving packages via our package delivery services, whether it's DHL, FedEx, USPS, UPS. One of the things, be very, very careful about text messages that you receive purporting to be from one of the package delivery services saying that your package has been delayed at such and such location. Click this link to find out more information. Typically, those are hackers that are attempting to get personal information out of you from your phone. And particularly, Luis, I'm seeing that more and more of these, I'm getting at least 1 or 2 a week saying that a package supposed to be delivered to me by USPS, the Postal Service, is being held at a warehouse, and all I need to do is click on this link. So the smartest thing to do is if you have packages that, coming and going, instead of clicking on a link on your phone that you get, go on the website of the packaging company, whether it's the Postal Service, UPS, DHL, whatever one, on track. Go on there, establish an account with them, and then see if there is actually anything coming for you. And, of course, if you have a tracking number, you just plug that in. And, that's the acid test right there.
Yeah, be sure to verify anything that you get via text, because smishing, as we call it, is becoming increasingly an issue for a lot of folks. And you should not trust any text unless you know its source.
And this is the time of the year when people are really going to get hit by this. So you just have to be careful about it. All
absolutely.
right.
Good advice.
Hey, thank you very much, Luis, and we'll talk again Monday morning starting at 8:30 here on Power Talk Radio. Have a great rest of the weekend.
You too, my friend. Take care.